السلام عليكم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والصلاة والسلام على رسولنا محمد سيد الأولين والآخرين. مدد يا رسول الله، مدد يا سادة أصحابي، مدد يا مشايخنا. دستور مولانا شيخ الله فاز داستان شيخ محمد العرفان. طريقتنا الصحبة والخير في الجميع. Peygamber Efendimiz sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem en büyük günahları söyleyeyim mi de size de sahabesine söyledi.
Our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, asked his companions, "Would you like me to tell you about the greatest of all sins? Would you like me to tell you about the great sins?"
Ashabına bazen insan bazı şeyleri hafife alır.
One of the great sins is to take things lightly or to do not take things seriously.
Şey yapmaz. Çok kötü olduğu halde onu hafife alır.
People, even though something is a major sin, they do not take it seriously.
Ekber kebair dediği en büyük günahlar birisi.
And one of the greatest of all sins,
Anaya babaya iyi davranmamaktır.
is to disrespect one's parents and to treat one's parents not well.
Anaya kötü davranmak o günahların en büyüğüdür.
To treat parents badly is the greatest of all sins.
Yani başka şeyler var, her şey var ama
There are many other sins.
En kötüsü anaya babaya kötü muamele etmek, kötü.
But the worst of all things is to not treat one's parents well or to treat one's parents badly.
Davranmak, onları üzmek, tabii dereceleri var bunların.
To make them sad, to harm them, to torment them is the worst one can do against one's parents.
Bazen kötü dövüp ya sövüp şey yapmak, onlara ihtimam göstermek.
And there are certain levels of not treating one's parents well. Not treating one's parents well can be expressing bad words or saying bad things or neglecting them or harming them.
O büyük günahlardan birisi.
And according to these levels, there is a further distinction, but to not treat one's parents well or to treat one's parents badly is the greatest of all sins.
Ondan sonra da şimdiki asırda onlara itibar olan yalan şahitlik.
And then, next, another great sin is false testimony.
Yalan şahitlik yapmak, o daha çok büyüktür. Onu
False testimony is also a grave sin.
kaç defa tekrarlamış Peygamber Efendimiz.
And our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, repeated it many times and said that to bear false testimony is a major sin. To make false testimony is a major sin, and he repeated that several times.
Ki bu büyük günahtır. Yalan şahitlik yapmak, yalan
To give false testimony is a major sin.
şahitlik yapmak demiş.
And our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, repeated this several times.
Ta ki sahabeler keşke sussa diye şey yapmışlar da o kadar üzgün olarak Peygamber Efendimiz sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem.
And our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, repeated it. He repeated to give false testimony is a major sin, and he repeated it so many times and with such sadness that the companions of our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, were torn apart inside, and they wished that our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, would stop to say this. They could no longer bear, as our beloved Prophet was so saddened by the fact that people would give false testimony.
Onu söylemiş ki hakikaten yalancı şahit çok insanların canını yakar,
To give false testimony may ruin people's lives.
haklarını alır.
It may violate people's rights.
2 kuruş için
And why do people do this? It's just for the sake of 2 pennies.
bu şahitliği yapar. Zannederse bir laftan ne çıkar diye.
And they think they take an advantage by giving false testimony. And they think, what's the harm in words? There's no problem if I lie, they say.
Bazı laflar kelleyi götürür.
But words have an impact and words have a meaning. Words can lead to a person's death.
Laflar insanın hakkını alır. Bazı
Words can lead to a person being deprived of his rights.
sözler işte onun için dikkat etmek lazım.
Therefore, one needs to be very careful about what one says.
Bahusus böyle biri sana söylerse bunu gördün mü ya öyle midir diye,
Especially when somebody asks you about, did you see that? Is that true?
gördüysen tam olduğu gibi söylersin.
Then you must speak the truth and you must say what you have seen.
Yok sana gel de şunu söyle, bunu söyle diye söylerlerse
You must not make arrangements with people about what to say, and you must not make arrangements about what testimony to make. They may come to you and tell you, let's come and agree and say this and that.
görmediğin, bilmediğin şey sakın
And they may make you to say things which you did not see, which you do not know.
yani küçük bile olsa
Beware of such things and do not do such things, even if it's a minor affair.
gene onu yapma.
Don't give false testimony, regardless of the situation.
Yalancı şahitlik yapma.
Don't bear false witness.
Olabilir. Hani sırf mahkemede değil,
And this does not only apply to being a witness at court.
hayatın içinde yaşadığın vakit
This applies to your entire life.
bir mesele olur. O meseleyi bilirsen
If a situation requires you to give testimony,
söyle.
then you must speak the truth when giving testimony.
Bilmezsen sakın onun bunun lafıyla
And if you don't know what happened, then don't let yourself be manipulated by others, and do not let yourself be compromised by others, and do not say what others make you to say.
şahitlik yapma. Yani şahitlik ile mahkemede gel burada elini Kur'an'a basla şahitlik yap değil.
To be a witness or to give testimony is not an act that is only performed while being at court and while one is required to take an oath by swearing on the Holy Quran and putting one's hands on it. No, in everyday situation, our daily lives, we are confronted in moments where we are required to give testimony about things.
Her zaman bir şey olunca yalancı şahitliği sakın yapma.
Whenever something happens and you are asked about something, always say the truth, speak the truth, and don't give false testimony.
Tabii şimdiki mahkemelerin önünde bir hayli insan var, yalancı şahitim diye iftihar eder.
People have made it a business to be a false witness, and they are proud of being successful in giving false testimony.
Şu para ver ben sana şahitlik yapayım der.
And you can hire those witnesses for your process, and they will then come and give false testimony in your favor.
Hem de geçerli olur.
And it will even, and their testimony is even accepted at court.
Nasıl bir sistemse bu adamın yalancı olduğunu bildikleri halde
And people will accept those people's testimony even though they're well aware that those people are false witnesses.
gene şahitliğini kabul ederler.
Nevertheless, they are still invited to court as witness.
Allah muhafaza etsin.
May Allah Almighty protect us.
Onlar kabul etmeleri mühim değil.
It doesn't matter what the judge says.
Allah Azze ve Celle'nin indinde o ahirette büyük
What is important is what the highest judge of all, Allah Almighty, is going to say in the hereafter, on the day of judgment.
azap, büyük son, kötü son olarak
And there's great punishment for those who give false testimony. And it is a bad end for those who give false testimony.
O insana yeter.
And there could be nothing worse, and no greater burden or nor greater sin than giving false testimony and having to give account to Allah Almighty for that false testimony.
Hak dünyada zayi olur ama ahirette zayi olmaz.
You may get unnoticed for your false testimony in this world, but the justice will take place in the hereafter, and you will be held accountable before Allah Almighty.
Sen 2 kuruş için şahitlik yapmışsın. Onun muhakkak
It is not worth 2 pennies to give false testimony.
cezasını çeker.
There will be a punishment.
Para için olmasa bile gene yalancı şahitlik, görmediğiniz, duymadığınız, işitmediğiniz şeylere
And again, this applies to our daily situations. Don't give testimony about things which you have not seen, which you have not heard, and which you have not been witness of.
şahitlik yapma. Onun bunun sözüyle de inanıp da şahitlik yapmayın.
And don't let yourself be compromised by others, and don't say what others make you to say.
Allah muhafaza etsin.
May Allah Almighty protect us,
Uyanıklık versin bize.
and may Allah Almighty awaken us.
Bu da çok mühim bir şeydir.
This is a very important matter.
Zaten insan yalancı şahitlik sırf mahkemede oluyor.
People assume that giving false testimony is only related when being a witness at court,
Her saat olur, her gün olur.
but it applies to our everyday's lives. Every hour, every day, we may be in a situation where we need to be a witness, and we need to give our testimony, and then we must always speak and say the truth.
Onun için Allah muhafaza etsin.
May Allah Almighty protect us,
Nefsimizin, bunun nefsinin isteği üzerine
and may Allah Almighty protect us from being manipulated by other people's egos and being forced to say things based on other people's desires.
kötülük yapmayalım. Günaha, harama girmeyelim.
And may Allah Almighty protect us from being forced into sins through others.
İnşallah. Allah muhafaza etsin bizi.
May Allah Almighty protect us.
Onunla tevfik. El Fatiha.